Hello friends, today I will show you how we can easily import dirty data from Excel and then quickly make this into a very beautiful dashboard using Power BI. As you can see in this picture, we will have this dirty data in Excel, and as you can see here, we don't even have proper headings. Like there are countries but without the heading, there are categories but without the word category. Even the years don't have the heading year, and then some of the countries are blank. I mean, we can easily figure it out that this computer's data will be for Singapore and this will be for Singapore fashion. However, the data right now is blank, and this is the kind of file that we get from our ERP SAP system. And how are we going to bring this data quickly and create a beautiful dashboard in Power BI like this? So here, as you can see, things are pretty interactive. As we choose different years, as we pick different categories, things change immediately, and we are able to zoom in or zoom out, go into the different areas, different countries, and are able to analyze the data pretty quickly. This is only because of the power of Power BI. There is a hidden tool within Power BI called Power Query, which helps us to load the data, clean it up, and get it ready for our analysis. So this has helped me a lot. Previously, my boss would request me to bring this data into something meaningful, create a dashboard, and then in a dashboard I'll create, once I load the data, I'll maybe show the data by countries in a chart, and then he'll expect it to show it to him by categories. If I show it by categories, then he'll expect it by years. And so whichever way I do, there'll always be something lacking, and he or she will always expect something more, something different, something more dynamic. Well, today we can easily do this, and we don't even have to write a single formula. It's all just by using the mouse, and a few clicks we can get the ugly into the beautiful like this. So let's get started. I'm going to close this Excel file that we are going to be loading, and we'll be creating a brand new dashboard. So all we need to do is to open Power BI, and Power BI we can easily download from the Microsoft website. It's a free tool. It's called Power BI Desktop, and if you're not sure, just simply go to powerbi.microsoft.com and you can download it. Once you see the software is loaded, we can simply close the splash screen. Right now, just to show you, I'm using the latest edition, which at the moment is the July 2023, but it does not matter if you have an older or a newer version, because Power BI changes all the time. Every month there is a new release, so most likely by the time you watch it, it will be a different month. And if your IT has loaded a previous version, it still doesn't matter. Most likely you'll still be able to do everything that I'm going to show you today. To bring the data from Excel into Power BI, all we need to do is to click on Import Data from Excel. We pick the file, multi-level spreadsheet, click Open, and this automatically invokes the Power Query editor built within Excel and built within Power BI as well. So our data is under the sheet called Data, and we can see here all the data is available here. But the data is not clean, therefore we are going to quickly clean it. So instead of loading it directly, I'm going to transform data, and this is what will invoke Power Query editor, as you can see at the top. Now Power Query editor will record all the steps of the cleanup so that we can repeat the steps. We can do it again automatically just by clicking refresh. So whenever the data changes, it will automatically refresh it for you. So here we can see there are 4 steps already been applied. However, when I look at it, it has picked up Singapore as the column heading. It has picked up column 3 as the column heading, and our countries have actually become column headers. which is not exactly the case. So sometimes when Power BI doesn't get it right, we can delete some of the steps and then backtrack to where we were in the beginning. This is pretty much what we got from the Excel file. We have only columns and our countries are listed below as raw data. So this being data where the number of columns will keep on growing as we add new countries, and the number of rows is not increasing that much, is only increasing 1 per year of data. So this is a data which is not very suitable for creating reports. That's because for creating dashboards and reports, we want something which is hundreds of rows, more rows than columns. We should only want 3 or 4 columns like country, category, year, and the sales value, and then we should be having repeating rows to do this. So we can simply flip the data. Instead of having more columns and less rows, how about we press Ctrl A, select the entire data set, go to transform and click transpose. As you know, in Excel and in Power BI, transpose will flip the rows into columns and columns into rows. Let's see what happens. I'll click transpose, and immediately we can see that every year has now become as a column until the 2025, and our data values are now flipped. Now of course it's still not clean, but it's looking better. Now I can say that this can be a good column header 2006, 2007, 2008. So to do this, what I can do is I can go to home and simply say use first row as headers. That will record a step and it will now promote our first row as being the header. So now we can see 2006, 7, 8 have become years. We have all our categories listed here under column 2. Of course it doesn't make sense to call it column 2, so I'd rather double click on the column heading and change it to category. And for the countries, which I will rename it country, but the problem is that some of the country values are null, which means no value, and what we actually want is to repeat the value from above. So we can tell Power BI, the tool, that we would like to fill down the values from taking the value from just above. We can do that by clicking country, right click, and then choosing to fill down. By doing this, it takes the value from above and fills this down. I'll fix the typo, country, category, and then all the years are now listed here. However, we don't want years to be in horizontal multiple columns. Rather, it will be good to have one column called year with the values. So what we'll do is we'll select country, category, and then we will unpivot. That means the transpose the remaining columns. So I'll simply right click here and then say unpivot other columns. By doing this, it'll flip all the other columns, and now it looks so much better. All I need to do is to rename this column as year, and the value could be anything. We could call it sales. It's a numeric 1, 2, 3, and the year, even though it's a numeric, it is better left as ABC or text, because we are not going to sum the years, we only want to sum the sales. The last thing that we can do is to rename our query. Instead of just being called data, we could call this our country sales data or something like that. Now that we are done with this, press enter. The query is renamed, and here we can see the query. All I need to do is to simply close and apply. This would close the Power Query editor, and now our data is now being loaded and being cleaned, and you will be able to see the query name here as soon as the loading is completed. Seems like it's working on it, and now we see the country sales data. If I open it up, you can see we have category, country, sales and year. If you would like to see the raw data, all we need to do is to click on data view and you can now see the raw data that's been loaded. We have 180 rows created from that messy data into something so much more beautiful, comfortable and workable. Now I'm going to begin creating a report for my boss that will make him or her happy. So this report we are going to call as our sales dashboard. So let me rename this to our sales dashboard, and now we begin to create a report. The first thing I'll do is to create a table. So I'll click table from the visualizations, and I'd like to see the data of category, and the categories are listed. I'd like to see the sales. This will give me the grand total of the sales. If I want to change the font size, I can simply click on the format your visual paintbrush, look for size, and then there's a new option, global font size. Let me change it to 15 or 16. We'll make it a decent size. We can see the category and the sum of sales. Let's bring it down a bit, and I like to of course have comma formatting for this. By default, Power BI may not format your data the way you want it, but it's pretty easy. I can click sales and I'll apply the comma formatting to it. If you want to see the dollar sign as well, we could apply the dollar formatting and it looks beautiful with the dollars. Next, I would like to see similar information but for countries. So this time I can click a table and I can see the country as well as the sales. That's a second table that's available to us. Of course, we can also do the similar formatting and the font size, but there's a simpler way, and that's to click the first visual, apply the format painter onto the second visual. This will immediately fix the second visual to be of the same size and color as well. So the two are pretty much identical. It looks pretty nice. And now I want to show you that instead of clicking table, if we just click country first, country and sales, then in this case we will get a map, not a table. So I can now see this map, and I'll like to bring it over here. We are now able to see the different countries that are listed in our company, and we can see it here. So let me arrange it, and now we can see our countries are listed nicely. If you want to place it elsewhere, let's do that at the moment as well. Now that the data for the year is listed, we can see that you can click on a country like India and it zooms to India. If we click USA, it'll zoom to United States, and Singapore will bring you to Singapore. Similarly, when we click computers, the sale only shows computers, and then we are now able to see only the sales of computers in each of the countries listed. Clicking on the category again will remove the filter. We could also add other kinds of charts. For example, we could add a pie chart showing the countries and the sales as a split to see the distribution, and then once we have it, we could place it elsewhere or have a look at it. I am not going to use the filter, so I'll remove it, and now we are able to see the distribution. And now let's do a bit of formatting as well as make it even more dynamic. So another thing that we can easily do is we could analyze the data for each year, and by doing this we'll be able to analyze the yearly sales. So we can add a slicer control from the visualizations, and then I'll choose the year to be the slicer. Because we have lots of years, let me make this into a longer visual here like this. So we still have space for adding a few years, and later on if the years keep on growing, we could convert this into a drop down, which I'll show you shortly as well on how to do it. So now when we click a particular year, you can see that the sales figures are immediately filtered only for that year. So now we are looking at 2024, 2023, 2022, and if you wish, you can select multiple years as well. For example, to look at 2022, 2023 and 2024, we just need to hold the control key while clicking the year. So now I am getting the total sales only for the last 4 years. So now we are able to see the data by country, by year, as well as we are able to see the sales by category. So it's up to us how we want to see the data by country, by category, and every time we click, we are immediately able to slice the data. So we don't just need these physical slicers, but actually everything is a slicer in a Power BI dashboard. All the visuals will be able to cross filter each other. We can do a bit of formatting. So for example, let me add a column chart, and then here we will look at the sales by the countries. So let me clear the slicer by clicking on the eraser icon at the top. Now we are looking at the entire sales, but if you click India here, it will zoom in. Clicking again will zoom out, and also clicking fashion will only show you a slice of what is the total sales of fashion in or among all the countries. So we are able to analyze the data by country, by category, and even see the portion of the slice. This is for every year, but we can pick the year and it is further able to slice it for us. Isn't it amazing? All I need to do is to beautify this report. So let us add some beautiful touches here. For example, I don't want the word sum of sales. So how can we change it? You can't double click it like Excel, but you can double click it in the visual here. So I can just say total sales, and as you can see, once we change it here, the word has now changed to total sales. So similarly, by clicking on each visual, I can change the heading to total sales, or if you wish, we could have called it total revenue. So just for the sake of showing it to you, I have changed it to total revenue, and clearing the filter, everything else is updated. So sum of sales, let's change this to total sales. And we could also do a bit of formatting here. For example, we could go to the title of this chart by going to general, and here we have the title, which is on, and let's change the color to navy blue here. I'll center the heading, and it would be good if we could display the values, that means the data labels here. So we can simply switch it on the data labels under the visual. Now we can see the value. Once you have switched it on, we can change the font and the size of the data labels by going to values. So I like to maybe bold it, and the display unit looks fine in K. So this looks good. Now that we are displaying the values, maybe we don't need the y-axis, so we can simply go to y-axis and switch it off. Of course, now you don't need the heading for the y-axis as well, so we can open it up and switch off the title. So the chart looks way much neater and cleaner. And similarly, we could click on this other visual and change it to by going to the maybe we don't need the legend, or you may want to switch it off completely and display the legend as part of the slices. So we could go to the slices, and on the detail labels we could choose to display the category and the percentage of the total. So India is 34%, US is 32%, Singapore is 33%. But that's overall. If you go to 2020, the picture changes. If we go to 2024, the picture changes again. This visual also, let us change it quickly. I'll go to the general title and change it to navy blue, centered, and now this looks pretty consistent. Similarly, we can do that for the other visuals as well by centering them and changing the color to navy blue. And maybe we could add a heading here. So we could add a text box, and in the text box I'd maybe choose a font size, maybe let's say 20 or 24, and then we could write like sales analysis by, or just say sales analysis dashboard, and we could then use the dots to center it, and if you wish you can elongate it so that it will look slightly longer. It could go from one end to the other end. We could center it, and if you want you can change the font color to be, we need to select the text first and then change the color to, let's say, the navy blue that we have selected. And if you wish to have some background color to this, we could pick a background color from the formatting option. So let me put a light yellow, light blue background, and maybe we want it even lighter or darker. We can choose the transparency if you wish to, so make it even lighter. So here we have a pretty nice looking dashboard, and this is a live dashboard. As we add different years, as we add the different countries, sales will be able to increase, and we will be able to see additional data in the same dashboard. So let me show you what we mean by doing this. So let us make some bit of space here for some categories, as well as for adding some additional countries in here. And so all our visuals are slightly larger in size at the moment, and of course if you want any boundaries or borders around these, so we can easily work on those. Let's clear this filter, and I am now going to save it. So let us call this our multi-year sales dashboard. Save. Now that the data is saved, I want to show you how easy it is to add new data, and how easy it is to bring in additional data, additional countries, additional years. So if I now go back to Excel and open our raw data file, multi-level spreadsheet, and as you can see here, this is the original data that we have loaded here. We have data for Singapore, US and India. Now I have hidden some data under the extra sheet where we have data for Germany and Australia. These are the two additional countries that was not present. So we could grab this additional data. I'm going to copy it, and then I'll bring it in here and just paste it at the next of the where we have blank data, where India finishes and Germany and Australia are now added. Now we have additional data. I am simply going to save this Excel file and close it. I didn't bring in the year, if you noticed, because we already have the years and we don't have any additional year to add at the moment. So this is fine for now. I am going to close this file. We must always save and close it before we try to reload it into Power BI. But the good thing is I don't have to do all the steps that we did in Power Query while loading. All I need to do is to simply click refresh, and this will help us to bring the additional data, and straight away you can see within a moment we have now Australia and Germany loaded in, and we are able to slice and dice it the way we want it. Straight away you can go to any year, any country, and be able to see the values. So those things which were not present have now been added. All it took was a few clicks, a simple steps using Power Query, which is hidden in Excel and hidden in Power BI, a tool to help you to clean the step, automate the steps of the cleanup, and help you to refresh the data as and when it changes. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, this video on quick tutorial of how to use Power Query and Power BI to quickly load the data, clean the data, analyze the data, and publish it in a nice, beautiful looking dashboard. If you liked it, do give a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to our channel, and write a comment. I'll be very happy and to see your comments. Thanks for watching. All the best.